Ziba.
Ralph.
It's the first time I've ever met you. I was gonna say you're here, but you are. I'm here. I'm here where you're at.
Welcome.
It's the first time we met. Here we are in Boston. Why don't you say like who you are, what's your deal? Introduce yourself real quick.
Hi, I'm Ziba Scott. I run Popcannibal, little game studio. Been doing that for about 15 years. Make indie games, mostly with my friend Luigi, sometimes with Clark, a musician, but really small team. Been doing that for a long time.
Okay. All right. So you went originally though. You went from like enterprise and academia, software development, right? You have like a computer science degree, right? So you went from like regular computer science, quote unquote.
I went from Linux nerd
to
it's a slightly
game
different
development.
flavor of Linux nerd still, but yeah.
How did you make that transition? How did you manage that transition?
Out of college, I went into Linux. I was a Linux consultant, which is honestly, I love games, but I love tech first. I don't know. I'm a programmer first and a game designer second, though I wouldn't want to give up either. But I just really do love getting in the code and doing that stuff. So I started my career in that and did Linux tech to webmaster at a university, which was a lot of fun. It was a nice job, good people. I liked it, but didn't connect me to as much stuff as I'd like, right? Like I'm optimizing the SQL database so that attachments on students' webmail works more function. Like I actually liked the work, it was interesting, but like you go to a party and it's not as, it separates you from the world a bit more, that kind of stuff, whereas like games, was like, it touches so many topics you can do. So that's, that was something missing in my life that made me take a look at games, but it was, I heard a ad when I was driving home from work one day on the radio for a new degree program at Michigan State in serious games.
Oh, okay. So you went to school for games.
After, I was 7 years out of college and then had no real interest in going back to college. But when I heard about this master's degree program in games beyond entertainment, like night school classes, I was like, that's kind of interesting. My wife gave me a big push. She was all for it. And I was still like, I don't know. And then I emailed someone at the program. I was like, I just missed the deadline by a little. And then Professor Carrie Heater was like, we'll figure it out. Just sign up, show up now. We'll sort out. Like she was really great about like, you want in? Let's do this. And like, I don't know. I really owe a lot to people around me encouraging me to step into that.
Okay, because I was going to ask you, were you unique among your peers of going into games from computer science? Because I know in my experience, I'm a bit older than you, but when I was in college, we were all playing video games. And I thought it was a natural to go make video games after we graduated from computer science, but I was like the only person who went and did that. Everybody else just went and got quote unquote regular jobs.
No, people weren't. You're right. No, we were the same when I was in college.
Yeah.
I mean, I graduated in 2003.
Okay, so yeah, I graduated in '98. So
so it was, right. We were all playing. We did manage to get Halo in its prime right then, and no, people weren't going into games.
Right.
I looked at it briefly, but I didn't take it seriously. And
okay, so yeah, it was a unique path. Well, actually, it took you a little later because it took you seven
years, which was great because I got to learn how to work in real jobs. I made real grown-up person's money and not pretending to be an indie developer, starting out type money. I don't know, pretending to be, not like I had a bit. My life was a bit more established by the time I went indie, and that made things a lot easier for me than I think for a lot of other people. I don't know.
Hey, maybe move this string away from your. I don't know if that's rubbing against. I don't know. This is a very
I also
intense
just realized
operation here.
The audio's on.
Yeah,
for like
you might want to.
Animal Crossing babbling. I was like, who's babbling?
This is all. Yeah. And also, we should probably not hit the table because I noticed it's vibrating. But whatever. That's how. This is how we're doing it live here. This is how we do it here. Okay. We'll talk about that game that's making noise in the background. But okay, so that's interesting. All right. I feel like today it's natural to make games. I picture a lot. Like I went into computer science just because I was like, well, to make games, you got to code. Yeah. And although I did try to learn how to program as a kid, I was too lazy to actually get good at it. So I thought going. Yeah.
Did you do the copying code out of a magazine?
Oh yeah. But I didn't know how any of it worked. And I tried to make games with like construction kits and stuff, but I thought that getting a degree in computer science would kick my ass into learning how to actually code, which it did do. Oh, that's so. I get so. That was a 2-year master's degree in serious games.
I think it was 2 years. Yeah, evening classes. Yeah.
Interesting. So what kind of classes did you take to learn about? That's pretty. What year was that?
That was 2008. I think it was like 2010. I think.
Okay, so that was okay. Serious games was a big deal by then. So what do they teach you about serious games? What's different about developing serious games versus still developing quote unquote real games? Like, from an academic perspective.
I liked the curriculum. I liked the professors. That was a good thing. A lot of it was about. It was officially in the telecommunications school at Michigan State, and they have like a world-class telecommunications program. So a lot of it was about just the theory of communicating over a network or digitally, how people talk to each other. Okay. There's also a big teaching school at Michigan State, so there was a lot about pedagogy, about just how do you teach people things, how do you learn things. And then there was product design, which was how do you determine what is your audience wants, what they need, how do you validate that what you've made is the thing you're trying to do, that it makes those goals of what you're trying to reach. And then there was some actual little bit of like, all right, let's make a little flash game or some other little game like that. And then there was just studying, here are 7 interesting, important games, play them. We're going to be writing up in these formats, analyze them into this, and why does this work this way and why does it work that way? So it was I thought a really good whole spectrum mix of like making something that is supposed to achieve something in the world. And that happened to be that was a game, but there's a lot of important stuff to know about any sort of modern product you create that communicates and tries to change someone.
Okay. So it wasn't necessarily a technical degree. A lot of it was on design.
No, there was like the one real programming class was in undergrad CS they had us do. And then at the same time I was taking an undergrad CS class and some game programming as I was taking a PhD level telecommunications class. So it's fascinating to be doing, I'm in between, I'm 7 years out of undergrad, and here I am taking an undergrad class and a PhD level class, which is very different teaching styles and stuff at the same time, and I really loved that.
So that's interesting. And you mentioned product design. I've been meeting a lot of people lately that are quote unquote product designers, and I'm like, what is that? I'm old. That didn't exist when I was in college. Like, what is product design?
Well, and again, this was, I'm a guy who's had 1 or 2 classes, not a degree in it. But there's just a lot of interesting formalized, semi-formalized concepts around you have personas. Who are you making this for, right? Okay, I've decided I'm making this for someone who's between these ages of this economic standing. Okay. They probably have these experiences and this understanding of it. Very different than making something for, this is an older person who's never seen this technology before. These are the road bumps they're going to have. These are the things they want to do. So you have these 2 very different personas, which you decide, what am I actually making this for? And what changes to my product might make based on who I'm designing this thing for, right? And then there's playtesting, falls under the category. Like, even video game designers did not invent testing their products, right? There's all this previous methodology of all right, we actually practice filling out, since we're doing tests on human subjects in any academic setting, you have to go to the institutional review board and you have to file, here's what I'm going to be making people do. I need permission to, under the banner of the university, be talking to humans and putting them through this experiment, right? And that's so the formal ideas behind playtesting. And then things that a lot of indies have to learn the hard way of, if you have someone playing your game, in general, shut up. Don't apologize for everything or try to explain as they're going. Have your questions that you're trying to answer for yourself beforehand. Have a sheet of questions for the player to be answering afterwards, and have a formal process in your mind and reasons for why you're trying to get at these answers to these. Why are you having them test? Because you have specific questions.
Oh, that makes sense, because some of the product designers I'm working with now, that's what they're doing, a lot of interviews of potential customers and stuff. And I was just kind of like, well, I remember that from reading books on customer development, but I guess it's part of the product design process, which is okay, that's interesting. So does that help you with game development at all? Because a lot of game development is trying to match what you're making with the audience. It seems like this actually is sort of a secret sauce of game development as well.
Yeah, I mean, well, it was interesting the way a lot of game festivals work out these days. They're not economically a good deal if you're trying to get returns on showing your game to get customers to know about it and buy it. That's a small number of the situations you'll find yourself at a fairly high profile number of festivals. There's a lot of smaller festivals where the real value is being a human, being a human middleman between your game and the world, and sort of it's as if you stepped into a store. They're not going to buy it, but you are there as you see the relationship form between a potential player and your game, so that you can get information in a bandwidth you would never get on like whatever feedback you can even get from a store, a comment on a store page, right? Like to be able to be equipped and ready to learn from standing physically next to your game, in between it and people, and seeing people play with it, is something that is it's both really valuable for shaping a game, shaping the game's marketing, but it's also part of the reward for me of like, why am I making games? I wanted to be connected to people. I could be making better money and having less stress if I was still working on webmail for university.
Sure.
But you don't go and hang out with the students and be like, hey, how'd you like your webmail today? Like, get away from me, old man, you're creepy. Like,
but that's exactly right. Like festivals, one of the main reasons why I like to do them is it's playtesting. I mean, it's, back in the olden days when I was working in AAA console games, they'd spend a lot of money to do focus tests, one-way mirrors, watch people play games. Yeah. And as an indie, that's not feasible. But that's one of the reasons why I do like to go to festivals. I will video people playing the game, so I can see what they did, what they you can look at their face, but you can also look at the screen, see what they're doing. It's invaluable. It's way better than, or it's at least a different kind of testing than just getting player feedback online.
It's a lot of festivals though. It's just like particularly like PAX. I've done PAX.
Like I've done PAX
5 or 6 times, and it's skewed. It's skewed in a lot of ways.
Sure.
The people you're going to get are generally. They could have stopped anywhere, and they stopped at you. And there's so many of them that like they're already predisposed to probably like it and be happy. So it's the double-edged sword is like you're gonna have a lot of great interactions with people. You're gonna miss some of the feedback from people who, why didn't you want to stop and play my game? Why didn't you like it? But
we definitely when we were showing Xenotilt and Demon Tilt like PAX, we were like. We never could tell online, but when we see them in person, we're like, oh, we have a type. Like it was usually like dudes with heavy metal shirts on or pixel art shirts, which we could predict. We got to the point where we'd watch people walking down the hallway and I'm like, this guy's going to stop.
Yes, exactly. We do that with Kind Words for sure.
And occasionally a woman would do it as well. A different type of demographic, different type of shirt. But we could notice that we started sorting people into archetypes of like, I think this is the type of person that likes this game. And it was pretty accurate by the end of the show. But so there's that. And then also I think that the shows are useful for your credibility signal. Like, especially if you're getting into a festival, you have that, even if you didn't win, you're in the mega booth or whatever. And that has been helpful for me to get platform deals, to get, access to platforms that I wouldn't otherwise.
Yeah, it's part of the social proof within the industry that you're I mean, at the bare minimum, you haven't shit the bed and everybody's not angry at you and hates you.
Yeah.
They let you play. Oh, these people who are cool, they let you play with them. Let's talk about playing together on our platform.
Yeah, I mean, people who curate a lot of these platforms, whether it's like, PlayStation Plus or whatever, a lot of times they look at festivals for, at least for the first filter of what they should be looking at. So yeah, I mean, you're not going to sell to customers there. But you're going to get...
There are some. There are some cases where the indirect rewards aren't that indirect. Like there's a Steam showcase related to what that was.
That's also a big one too. We did... I did the mix... I can't remember what it's called. And it was literally canceled. Like we set it up and then the fire department shut the whole thing down before it even started.
2014?
Yeah, 2024, last summer.
Oh, last summer. That was... Oh, geez.
But they had a Steam sale... and we got a ton of wish lists or whatever. Nice. It was a couple years ago, I think, whatever it was. So yeah, there's that too. So yeah, there's a lot of benefits to, I think, showcases, as long as you're not paying. I think paying for a booth, the calculus kind of changes. Yeah. I was kind of related to this question, but I was going to ask, you have a theater background a little bit, right?
Yeah, I was a theater kid in high school and college, sure.
But does that inform your development? Is that, you have a creative spark? So, I mean, you said you're a programmer nerd, but you still have a theater background, so you have the creative background.
The college I went to because they had a good CS degree and they did not have a theater program.
Okay.
And I wanted to do theater without competing with full-time theater kids.
Okay.
They had a really active theater extracurricular club, so I could do theater and not be like the weird CS kid who is not actually the theater guy, whereas nobody at that school was full-on theater. So it was just what I wanted. I really liked that. So yeah, I got to do both. And yeah, I've always, those video games, theater, and programming have always been sort of intermingled in my mind.
Okay.
In a lot of ways. Yeah.
So I guess it's kind of related. Like, how did you arrive at Kind Words? Because before that, you did a lot of like so-called conventional games, like regular mechanics-based games. Kind Words is kind of like.
Well, my games were. I mean, it's kind of you to call them conventional.
Well, compared to Kind Words, I should say.
So Kind Words is probably the third or fourth writing game I've done in a row. So there's this weird stem of leaning on something between a real taste for and a crutch between involving user writing in my games. One of the bigger ones we did before that, I did with Ichiro. It was Elegy for a Dead World. Are you familiar with that one?
I know the name. I don't know if I played it.
So Ichiro rallied a number of us to jam out a little thing, which ended up going to a bigger thing. But we ended up making a game where you are walking through these beautiful, romantic, poetry-inspired landscapes. And artist, Luigi, the artist I work with usually, he was on that project too. And he drew these beautiful landscapes. And then you were given these sort of Mad Lib type prompts to go by and fill in what you imagined happened there, or a poem or some sort of story, whatever you want to fill in, whatever this space you're wanting through inspires you to fill in. And you write these stories and you share them online. And that was one of the most critical attention grabbing things that we'd actually done at that point. This was like 2013. And it started getting, IGF nomination, Wired magazine, successful Kickstarter project on it. People were really like, oh my God, you can write in a game. I've been waiting to be a writer.
Okay.
So there was some hunger for that. So we did that one. And it was fine. It's a fine game. I think it did what people were hoping it would do. They're like, I want to write in a game. And they could write in a game. Like, yeah, I wrote in a game. But I think people were like, I didn't really think beyond that. Either, us as developers and them as players didn't really think beyond like, and now I've written. Now what? Like we had an online sharing thing where you could share your stories online and people would share a lot of them. They shared a lot of stories online. I could see that nobody was reading them because like nobody wanted to read anybody else's amateur poetry written off the exact same prompt that they just did. Or like when you buy Mad Libs, you don't like, oh, let me get a used Mad Lib book. I'd love to read everybody else's Mad Libs. Like the joy is in like doing them yourself. So when Luigi and I were thinking about like how can we do that better?
Okay.
One of the ideas was to try and create something that would close the loop of how do you make something where people get the joy and excitement of writing, but there is an audience for what they've written, that people want to read.
Okay, I see. Written. Yeah. And so there's like a mechanic almost around reading.
There was a missing hole of like we didn't close this loop.
Yeah.
And that's why Elegy didn't feel as satisfying as it could have. So like, how do we make the circle such that what you've written has value to at least one other person to read?
Yeah, so I figured we might as well explain it for those who are like so Kind Words, because this is the first time when Ichiro was like, you need to interview this guy. I had never even heard of this game. And I played it. I'm like, okay, this is kind of a crazy game. First of all, it looks amazing. Like we'll talk about the visual style later, but like it's a great looking game. But when I was playing it, I was like, well, okay, this is interesting. Well, it's a game where you answer letters, anonymous letters from people, and you write anonymous letters that kind of go into the ether and arrive in people's inboxes. And there's not really progression or gamification, you could say. It's just pure writing and experience. So I would say when I played the game, I kind of felt like this is actually a game that's actually more of a social network, whereas Facebook is a social network ostensibly. It's actually more of a game because they've tried to gamify Facebook to the point, to monetize everybody and rage engage everybody and increase ad revenue. Whereas your game almost reminds me of a BBS before there was compulsion loops and monetization in social media. It's just a pure communication, almost messaging platform. I don't know, like, did you take any lessons from social networking in playing this game?
A very conscious design rule in if big social media is doing it, we will not do it.
Right.
An explicit goal is to not do any of the FOMO pull stuff that any of the social media is doing.
And so so it's interesting because, social media makes money by keeping people ignorant and angry.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like your game first of all, there's a price of admission. You have to pay to access it, right? Social media is free, and then they monetize. They run you through the funnel. Yep. So people are paying to access this social network, and then I think that changes the audience. And then the way the application is designed, I almost feel it's designed for you to want to help other people and be nice to other people. That's my feeling. I don't know if that's actually what people are doing. You see all the messages.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, so with Kind Words, the other big inspiration besides closing that loop of communication was like, Luigi and I were very stressed by this was 2019 we were making it, just before COVID. And with the absolute political garbage going on in America and the world, and having a lot of immigrants in our family, Luigi being an immigrant, it was just like, and us having the choice, the luxury of choosing what we're doing with our time at that moment. It was like, what can we do that is trying to bring what we want into the world, and to give people a chance to be their better selves and to add some comfort to each other. And so sort of the Hail Mary sort of art project level we were thinking on of like, what if we could just be nice to each other, man? Like,
is the design encouraging people to be nice to each other, or is that just who showed up to play the game?
So no, we worked hard. So I mean, Luigi's aesthetic, all his art,
the aesthetic
really tried to
that,
create a space that tells you signals to you what parts of yourself are you supposed to be bringing at this moment.
Yeah.
Right. We brought in Clark Abood to do the music, who's amazing. He did the Slay the Spire soundtrack.
Oh, okay.
We've done 4 games with Clark now. I think he's great. And so his music was definitely so much is about setting mood. And as you pointed out, a lot of this isn't actually, this is a game-shaped object more than it is a game in some ways. But we very much also chose to place it in a game to tell you, and a full-screen game too, like not a phone game, not a mobile game. Like,
it takes your full attention.
So a lot of this was about sit down, be here. This is the space. These are the vibes. Here's what you are going to bring right now. You're okay, or you're going to be okay. Let's be relaxed and constructive and honest right now. It's really the vibes.
But it's a very light touch, right? It's not very heavy-handed. It doesn't tell you that. It kind of encourages you to do that.
Yeah, we tried. I mean, and that's what Luigi's art and Clark's music are so good at. And we have our little our guide to the world, Ella the deer, the male deer.
Yeah.
And she says a few simple things, some simple guidelines about like, don't be a jerk to each other, and keep it anonymous. Anonymity is very important. One of the things that's not always immediately obvious about Kind Words is not just that it's anonymous. You don't have any identity in between messages. That is really important, that you aren't, it's not just that you're not revealing who your real self is, or who an identity is. You are free in between messages to be inconsistent with yourself. There's just not a lot of spaces in your life where you can be. I mean, even if you create an avatar for a game, like I'm Cool Guy 27, you start to build up like Cool Guy 27 does this, Cool Guy 27 does that. If Cool Guy 27 starts to fight with you, he's going to finish the fight with you, right?
Yeah.
And this one, with every single message, you are whoever you feel you need to be at that time. You are whatever part of yourself you need to bring. And you can be devastatingly honest about something that frightens you at this moment, and then speak with authority on something you do know about the next moment, and not feel like anybody who's watching feels you've been schizophrenic or disconnected, because nobody can tell that you wrote those 2 messages. So you're very free to just be directly all the different parts of yourself in the game.
I also think the fact that the game costs what, $20?
The first one's $5. Second one's
but either
$20,
way, the fact that you have to pay to play it, make sure that people who are in your social community are inspired to treat it right. Like I've noticed, like when my games go, like for instance, we've had the game for free, let's say, on Epic or on Game Pass. All of a sudden you see your reviews start to tank because the people that play the game are not particularly interested in it. They just get it for free. And so you kind of get a better quality audience from the people who paid because they're invested in the game and they bought it because they have a direct interest in playing it, not griefing people or...
Yeah. And that's the thing, I go back to, all this talk about product design and trying to find like who's this for and make sure it gets to them and not to people who don't want it. The thing that did work out is we actually originally published this as a Humble monthly original, the first one. So it went out, and that's like a program where people subscribe, you get your games per month.
Okay, so it's like a all you can eat kind of.
But there would be, Humble was for a series, I don't know if they've been doing this for a while. They used to pay a small amount to an indie to create an original game whose debut would be like a tag-on game to the month. Like this month you're getting Rocket League, blah, blah, blah. and whatever. Oh, and also, by the way, here's something that's totally new and you've never seen before because Humble contracted it, or
Yeah.
And that's what the original one launched as. So it actually did launch to 200,000 people got copies of a game that nobody had ever heard of and didn't expect, and that was well before it went on Steam. That was its debut into the world. So that was.
Did you see it? Was there a different audience from that than the Steam version?
It not really. The surprise was that anybody played it at all. Like we didn't think anyone was going to use this thing, but when we put it on the Humble Bundle, like the ball just started rolling from there. People started picking up and running with it.
How do a question I have about the game is, how do the NPC conversations work? Because it's almost like, it seems like AI generated. Like you could talk to them about anything, and then they can, it's kind of turn-based. You have to come back the next day. They continue the conversation, but they don't seem scripted. They just kind of, you can talk about anything, and then they kind of have a response.
Yeah.
Is that, well, like, what kind of technology is behind the NPC conversations?
So yeah, I mean, I get a lot of people that be like, "Is this AI?" And people in game be like, "Am I talking to a robot?" Like,
Yeah.
as far as if you're talking to a bot, it's some other user who hacked the game and stuck a bot in there. It's not me. I'm not putting. There's no bots in the game. All the text is either another user.
But the people that are walking around the street, when you talk to those people,
right. So in Kind Words 2, we added this conversation system.
That's what I mean, Kind Words 2.
Yeah, my dream was to have it to be like a classic adventure game where you can walk up to somebody and you have a list of things to talk for. So what happens is, it's interesting because at least I think it feels natural. You can talk for yourself. You walk up to somebody, you say something, and then later they say something. It just flows. It's actually a fairly messy little tree behind there.
Oh, so it is hard-coded.
Well, what happened? No. So what you do is when you first talk to somebody, they automatically say hi, hello, how are you? That's always the same thing. But then where it really starts is you start what's called a conversation seed. In the back end, I call it seed. So you seed a conversation, and then anytime somebody else is walking around, they will get the least responded to oldest seed that will go to them. So they say hi, how are you? Your seed comes up to them, and then they start a conversation thread. And your seed is eligible to start 3 different conversation threads before it gets retired. So every time you start a conversation, every time you're the first person to respond to hi, how are you, you've basically started like a forum thread that's allowed to have 3 threaded responses, 3 threads after it.
So are you saying that other users are replying to that same NPC, and then those become replies from the NPC to you?
Yeah. So it's always all real people.
Interesting.
Sometimes you start the conversation. Sometimes you're responding to someone else started. But the idea would be, I would want you to be able to say one thing, and then you go away and you come back. And when you come back, there's up to 3 different people who can, without you having to type anymore, be like, let's say you want someone to say, hi, how are you? And you say, I'm doing all right. I'm a little worried about Thanksgiving coming up. You go away for a few hours or a day, you come back and you talk to someone else and you click on it and they'll say, hi, how are you? And then you will automatically say, I'm worried about Thanksgiving, and then they will have their response, and it goes back and forth, and you can have.
But what I'm saying, which if I understand correctly, but like some other NPC will tell somebody else they're worried about Thanksgiving, and then that person responds to that, but then that response becomes, in your game, their response to you. I'm trying to figure out how this form. Because there's no AI or Eliza type thing. It's all user-generated responses, but they're repurposed in my game. My response is now an NPC's dialogue in somebody else's game.
You can picture it as texting, right?
Yeah.
Like you texted, you text, but the first text you do goes out to 3 randos.
Right.
And then those 3 randos may reply. But
I'm trying to remember, like, in what form are those 3 randos getting it? They're getting it in the form of an NPC conversation with one of the pedestrians.
Well, you walk up to the NPCs.
That's what I mean.
When you walk up to the NPCs, different things can happen. The first time you talk to them, if you haven't started any conversations, it will be your turn to start a conversation.
Right.
If you've already got your allotment of currently operated instructions and you talk to someone, their previously started instruction will come up. So let's say someone else said, I have terrible allergies today.
Right.
You just walk up to somebody and you say, hi, how are you?
And then your NPC says that.
You say, hi, how are you? And their NPC says, I have terrible allergies.
Right.
And you get to type back whatever you want to them.
That's what I mean. But so everybody has, because I thought the NPCs that are walking around the street were the same for everybody.
They are.
Like the graphics, at least, the visual.
The visuals are mostly random.
Oh, okay.
What those characters are walking around. Think of them as a metaphorical wrapper around an inbox of conversation threads.
Okay, interesting. Okay, now
and that's what most of the game is in different forms. Is just visual wrappers around shared inboxes of messaging.
Because I wasn't sure about that, just because at least in the few conversations I've had with the NPCs, the grammatically and everything, they looked fine. Whereas when I look at the inbox, I see all kinds of weird capitalization and stuff. Maybe I just haven't seen that yet in the NPC conversations, because that's why I thought, well, these must be AI generated, or somehow, you know, whatever you call Eliza, however that worked, it wasn't really AI, it was the 60s.
Yeah,
you
some hierarchical
Markov chain thing or whatever.
Yeah. No, all people talking to each other. You know, tens and tens of thousands of conversations at this point.
That's incredible. How do you moderate that?
This is where my previous life as a Linux and web nerd come in handy. I've spent half of the code base of this thing is not the game; it's the moderation.
Yeah, that's what I
imagine.
imagine.
It's the server and the tools for doing a lot of that stuff. I've spent a lot of time and a lot of different filtering and other stuff. The general principle is we don't moderate people, we moderate content. I like to not know. Sometimes I end up knowing. If someone behaves in a certain disruptive way over and over, I'll recognize that.
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh, this is that. I don't know the name. We don't track any people. I don't have Steam accounts. I can't know their names or anything. But I will recognize, like, oh, this is the person who's always talking about the moon. They're back. It's the moon talker. But in general, the idea is just treat all the content as equal. Because like I was saying, I want people to be able to be one way with one message, one way with another. And so you'll see people be disruptive when they're talking through some types of communication in the game, and constructive when they're talking through other types. And so the system's set up so that I can reduce the visibility of their destructive behavior and make it easy for the rest of their stuff to go through.
Do you have any issues with like laws? Like I know like different countries like Europe and stuff, they have different issues with content moderation and things like that. Like, do you have to be careful?
It's interesting, there's certain questions of size and relevance that I'm not sure I hit for having to track things. And the thing is, in our general, we have our published user agreement is I don't track shit. We do track the last IP address that you accessed with in case I need to stop some sort of denial of service. But I'm not tracking anything. I'm not selling it. I don't have anything to sell of yours. I'm not tracking anything. And we have a firm policy of not allowing any third parties any access to our data. So I don't spend maybe as much time. I hope there's no. I don't know who'd watch this who'd want to sink me, but like, I don't spend all that much time worrying about am I on the right side of the law, because I am trying to do as absolutely little shady anything as I possibly could. Like, I'm not. Of course, one of the big red lines we have in game design stuff is that any features we add have to. We keep in mind the idea of predation. Like that's a very serious line. That's why we keep everything. I filter out emails, Discord handles.
In the message itself.
And stuff like that. Because one of our biggest concerns is that someone would, as Kind Words signals itself as a place for people to be vulnerable and honest, that we've invited people to come and trust their feelings in that spot.
You don't want that.
And I don't want that to be an invitation for people looking to abuse people in those mental states to be there. And so that's a big concern of ours. And so functionally, we work hard to. I really don't know when I slip into me or we when talking about this. I do all the programming, just to be clear. Luigi does art, Clark does music. I just keep saying we.
That's a group effort.
I don't know, but they're not responsible for, if something goes wrong, to be clear, I'm responsible for it being filtered and stuff like that. So.
Interesting. Yeah, it's okay. How much of your day is taken with moderation?
Used to be a lot more. We've improved things a lot. Like when it first launched, because we didn't think anybody played the game. We didn't think anybody played the game at all, so the database was not structured. It was wildly inefficient. And the thing would just melt down constantly because I didn't oh my God, people were playing. We just thought no one would think. So like, there were a lot of, for years, adventures. I was like, yep, hit the server cap again, right out of memory, blah, blah, blah. Or like figuring out how to do like, oh, I didn't realize people would abuse this or spam that. And like, there's just a lot of building up the infrastructure to get to the point where now it's more in the order of, for the actual in-game moderation, it's minutes a day versus what used to be hours a day. So we've really streamlined a lot of it. but that doesn't. There's still, as you know from publishing games, there's all the other stuff, which is the Steam forums, the general bug support requests, the platform-specific stuff, a moderated Discord, and so there's always other stuff that bumps it up from minutes a day. But the actual like moderation of content is, knock on wood, for now. But I'm thinking of doing a free demo for a good chunk of it, which that's gonna change things.
Does it work with any other languages, or I mean, how do you moderate
People will
non-English?
force it to. I mean, that's right, because the main, and we have a very international audience. There was a point in time half our users are Chinese. We've definitely had a pretty widespread. Our font doesn't support many characters.
Oh, really? Okay.
Which was an accident, but it's good. It does make it hard for people, because my main concern is we have a globally shared inbox, and I'm totally cool with people writing a bit of other languages in there, but at some point it become hard for people to participate if every other message is in a different language. And then if I split it into different languages, technically easy to do, and I have to moderate in different languages. Very hard to do, because we've tuned the system to try and be aware, and ourselves to be aware of a variety of like racist dog whistle type stuff. Not that there's a lot of that, but I don't know what those are in Chinese. So
it's kind of interesting you talk about like the vulnerability. Like when I play the game, I almost don't want to play it because I see people. They're kind of miserable, like, which for good reason. There's a lot to be miserable about today, especially I'm assuming your demographic it seems young. I can't tell. I mean, you probably can't tell either, right? You don't really have any demographic info.
Anecdotally, I've heard of people playing it of many ages,
right?
But I think it skews college age.
Yeah, so by my scale, that's young. But I just kind of feel like some of the messages, the vulnerability people have, I'm like, they should be talking to a licensed professional therapist, not me. I don't even want to respond to anything because they're in some fragile emotional state that even though I might like to, I feel like I want to send an encouraging note to somebody, I'm just kind of like, I stop myself because I don't even know if it's the right thing to say.
Yeah, it's scary, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. That was the experience I had in your game. I was like,
yeah, you're not alone. That's definitely a reaction a lot of people have to it. That's yeah, it's a hard game that way. Penny Arcade actually drew a comic strip about how how hard Kind Words was for those reasons.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting though. I don't know. I mean, it's almost like you're crowdsourcing therapy to a certain degree, Yeah,
it's weird, and I have a lot of concern that I'm doing more good than harm in that area.
Yeah, because I mean, what do you? I mean, you don't have a degree, and you're a licensed therapist.
No, I've talked to a number of them about this and had them play it, and every time I run into one and I'm able to either have them play the game or something, I always try and get their perspective on, to make sure that I'm at least not making things worse. I mean, there's a lot of talk about self-harm, about suicide, talk about abuse and various things in there, which and there's not a lot of, especially video game spaces, where you can talk about these things. There are video games that will address these things in their content.
Yeah.
There's not many that allow the user to bring their own experiences with these things into them, much less share them with other players. And so and for good reasons, that's tricky and terrifying. But it also stubbornly makes me want to keep that, because when I see my players intentionally misspell or use a euphemism for suicide,
Right. Yeah.
I feel really bad for them.
Yeah.
Because they've assumed I want to chase them out of there. When I do not have any such filter on that. I have filtering around some of those topics to make sure I see them and that they're treated sensitively. I don't have filters to remove any of that content.
Yeah, well, I think people are just used to that censorship on other social media.
It breaks my heart.
It's just ridiculous.
People can't, when they're like, I'm worried I'm going to
and they have to use some weird
myself.
baby talk to go get around it.
Yeah, I mean, because these are things they shouldn't be ashamed or embarrassed of having to talk about. I understand why it's hard.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things that keeps me wanting to keep the servers going.
Yeah, it's just kind of one of those things like you see on YouTube, people making a video about a serious subject, but they have to use these goofy euphemisms for serious words, and it's just like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever. It's like you're getting around the filter, but you're still making an entire video about this subject, so what is this filtering really accomplishing? It's interesting. It's just kind of like, this game kind of links to your serious games background, because this kind of is a serious game. It's not really an enterprise project dealing with teaching people how to, like, I don't know, work in a warehouse, but it is, almost a healthcare app. a mental health care app.
Right. I mean, with there's a lot of definitions of serious games. The one I like a shorthand is a game whose primary purpose is not entertainment.
Okay.
And I mean, that's definitely, you can argue whether that's a
Entertainment's-
great definition all day, or whatever. There's holes in everything. But I like that one, and I guess Kind Words might fit that. Like, its primary purpose was to make people feel better, either by receiving or by giving care to each other. And that's what I liked about it. That's what made me feel good, spending time on it at a time in the world when, I don't know, people are being such dicks to each other.
Yeah, I mean, I think I read, and we already talked about it earlier in this interview. You kind of built it as a response to, the meanness in the world, for the current, wave of fascism in the United States. It's growing worldwide. It's only gotten worse. From moderating this platform, do you feel like you might have like your finger on the pulse of the zeitgeist, at least of a certain amount of people? Because you see all these messages, people's inner monologues. Like, have you seen a trend since the game came out? Do you think what direction socially do you think the world is going based off what you see?
Well, so like the game came out, the first one came out just before COVID, and then it was a fairly big hit during COVID, because the game aesthetically, it's somebody locked in a room by themselves, feeling stressed,
that's true.
messing with other people. Like, it was a bit on the nose, and it connected with a lot of people. So, and then it's been going for many years after that in the sequel. And I would get all these interviewers asking me, like, how did COVID change what's going on in the game? And so I did some stuff where I would like I don't do a whole lot of analytics, A, because I'm lazy, and B, because it doesn't fit the spirit of it. I'm not trying to track you. I don't want to know who you are. I just want you to be okay and have a good time in the game. But I did some like word cloud type business, with, like, what are people talking about before COVID and during COVID. And anecdotally, I haven't gone through the numbers, but I'm pretty sure it's about the same now. It's family, it's relationships, it's health, it's money, and it's jobs. It's rarely very specific. Sometimes a particular war, it's Palestine, it's Ukraine, but those are all often talked about in abstract thoughts of like, but when people really get concrete about talking about their lives and worrying about stuff, it's these universal same concerns. I think COVID exacerbated how those things were for people, but they're still talking about the same stuff. And that is, all right. So I think if I've learned anything, it's just that those universal core topics of stress and things you care about, those basic needs for to be loved, to love, to be okay, to have your loved ones be okay. Those are what everybody wants, and all of the crap that's happening in the world flavors those, puts pressure on those, is what makes those things go wrong. And that's what then people's reaction is like. The reaction is not like, oh God, they're not talking about, oh, the stupid tariffs are making it hard to pay everything. They're just like, I don't have money for groceries this month. And that's how they talk about it. That's how they approach it in Kind Words. It's really more about how everything has made them feel and how they're dealing with what they really care about, and not these not really higher level monologues or discussions about the causes of economic stress in the world. It's really about very personally.
It's almost like these systems of exploitation, they always come up and they exploit the same systems that are already built into humans since time began. So the art direction, how much of the success of the game do you attribute to the art direction? I kind of find like with indie games, you kind of have to have something that makes people stop when they're scrolling Steam. It's kind of one of the first time I saw Demon's Tilt, I was like, oh, like this is unlike anything I've seen visually. It just stops the page. Is it just work with Luigi? Is work with Luigi, or were you specifically like, we need to craft a unique look for this game? We want to give it a character, but we also want to make it stand out so that people see it. I guess what I'm saying, how much does the art inform the design of the game? I guess.
Good question. Luigi's art comes for this game. Became basically like day two, day one. Day one, we're bullshitting an idea. Day two, I scribble some terrible wireframe thing. Day three, Luigi draws something nice. We're like, oh, okay, we may be going someplace, right? Like, it is definitely his art and his work is very early in the process. The structure of the game especially the first one being super simple. I'm in a room sending messages, receiving messages. There just wasn't much to noodle around with after we had that idea. There's lots of stuff we've gone in other directions, but with that core one. So then it was it was just like, all right, it's a room, it's a kid sitting at a desk, it's a deer, and there's paper, or there's stickers, and just like, all right, Luigi, go. And like, he made it fantastic.
It looks incredible. I just think it's got a very strong art direction. It looks really cool. So you won a BAFTA.
Yeah, we did.
How did you do? I guess I'm dumb. For some reason, I always thought like you had to be British to win a BAFTA, but then that doesn't make any sense because games from all over the world win BAFTAs. How did that work?
I didn't realize I was eligible
Yeah.
until it was happening.
How do you become eligible?
Well, you nominate yourself. That's
okay.
There's a dirty
I should have
secret.
done that. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, you nominate yourself for a BAFTA, but a lot of people don't think of that. BAFTA actually officially has a North American arm too. They have like an LA. They have so many events. You're in LA. This is what I'm going about. They have so many events in LA that I get.
They
invited
do?
To.
I gotta get linked in with this. I didn't know.
Yeah, you gotta get in.
I just assumed everybody I knew that involved with BAFTA was like British.
No. So in order to get a BAFTA, this is insiders. I don't know, cameras.
Oh, well, we don't want to,
No, the BAFTA's cool. So I'm a member. I've been a member of the BAFTA organization for a while, which is not a secret anyway. Because it's primarily a film thing first.
Yeah.
So all these, every film company that wants to win a BAFTA has to do screeners for it.
Yeah.
And so LA is where there's so many screens. They're always screening movies for BAFTA members to go see in LA. So you should.
So you nominated yourself. What's the criteria? You could just be a game that came out within a certain
year, yeah. And there's a variety of categories that you can. So there's like best game, best performance, artistic direction, music, other stuff. And the category that that made sense for us was game beyond entertainment.
Right.
And so we nominated ourselves for that, and absolutely didn't expect anything. But yeah, we ended up getting a BAFTA. That was the awards ceremony is in spring in London. So when we got nominated, which is huge, never really been nominated for anything like that before. Bought the flights to go, and that was spring 2020, and all the world shut down.
Yeah.
And I think I got a refund on the flight tickets at least, so we didn't get to go to that. But.
Yeah, I should have nominated. Did winning a BAFTA change anything for you? Did it open any doors?
It was a hell of a lot of fun, and it's definitely let me connect to a lot of humans to talk to them, right? Like, I haven't been in terms of like business development. That's never been my forte. And when I decided to do a sequel, I did a bit of a half-hearted runaround for publishing, and then decided I didn't want it. So I think I may have squandered some of it in terms of like the credibility for like recent BAFTA winner. Oh, let's publish your next game. Like I didn't do that full press, try and get it happen. But it certainly is. It meant a lot to me and Luigi. Particularly, he's from New Zealand, with its former British colony status, where people actually know what a BAFTA is versus much of the America. So his whole family was like, "The hell is a BAFTA? What the?"
That's cool. That's okay.
Yeah. And I like the people who are organizing it. They've had me do a couple of interviews with other stuff. And they have. I've had a good time chatting with other BAFTA community members, which you don't have to be a winner. The community is much bigger than the people who've gotten BAFTAs.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. I should. Interesting. And then now you probably get screeners for life. You probably get to watch.
If I lived in LA or New York.
Well, because I thought people got these days they got streaming codes or whatever to.
Yeah, there are some things like that.
Because I think a friend of mine is a BAFTA member and he gets like Steam codes to look at games every year or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I should have nominated myself. I did. The only award I won an Augie award one year. So it's an augmented reality award, which didn't do much. Now I can just call myself award winning, which I do all the time because hey, it's true. So is there at Kind Words 3, is it kind of hard to make a sequel? Like, isn't this the kind of game you should just kind of build on top of instead of making a numerical sequel?
It's like everybody was surprised when we made a sequel. Like my Discord full of Kind Word users, people are nonstop asking for features, right? Like feature requests, every day, all the time.
Yeah.
We want to add this theme, add that to the game, and I wasn't adding any of it. For all those years, I was just keeping a spreadsheet of like how many times is this requested, how many people, what are people trying to do. And in my mind, I was like, this is a spreadsheet of new features for Kind Words 2. But all my user base was like, oh, we want this, we want that, and I wasn't doing it. And nobody was ever like, you can make a sequel, you can make like, I don't know, there's something about Kind Words did not, I think in this era of like games as a service and all games live forever, that idea has somehow become alien of like the clean break and the new thing. For me, it felt important to like put some space in between the two ideas to not go George Lucas on the original series and just keep like adding special effects until it wasn't what it used to be. I don't know. Not that I don't really actually, I'm fine with what George Lucas did. I don't really care. But you know, that's the...
My only problem is making the originals inaccessible, which supposedly the rumor is now that the 4K scan of the originals coming out. It's like, okay.
No, well, but is 3 going to happen? That's the question of like 2. First one took 6 months. And then we added and cared for it for years. The second one took several years, like 3-4 years of time to develop. And if it's always about bigger and better, I emotionally don't have it in me to commit to 6 years of Kind Words 3.
I've done it. It's not, it can be a slog.
But I mean, there's certainly, like it's not necessarily like a matter of like, oh, if a publisher were to hand me a pile of money, like I don't know if that would be.
I can't imagine a publisher publishing this game. It just seems like I mean, first of all, not as an insult. I mean, I don't know what publishers do anymore.
Right.
What do they do? They don't. First of all, they don't give you any money. They claim to help you port, but if you're using one of these game engines, porting's actually not that hard. Oh, they help with localization. That's not that hard either. I mean, depending on how content heavy your game is, I just paid, I hired a company to do the local. I don't know what publishers do anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I'm mostly tired of as a biz dev is there's a lot of things that aren't my forte, but when you run your own company, you got to do everything.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I really dropped the ball on with is platform relations. And that's the thing that I would love to have a publisher or whatever, some partner that's like, they're warmed up on, with everybody at every platform so that I don't throw things over the wall. Like, I'm not going to go on a console with these games until I know there's a soft landing on the other side for a platform holder being like, yeah, I'm ready. I've got a sale, I got a spot, I got a feature I want to put it in. And that's something that's exhausting to me. There have been times when I've chased, like when I was doing mobile games 10, 12 years ago, like I knew the Apple reps, I knew the Google reps, I knew who to talk to try and make sure I was going to, like, but I don't want to spend 6 months getting to know everybody again so that I can hopefully, I don't know.
Well, it's not that important anymore anyway. I don't think, I don't know. I think a lot of publishers can't help you with that either. They don't do anything. They basically want to take a cut to do absolutely nothing. And the only thing some of them can do is maybe promote you to, like, so let's say they have a big audience for their existing games. If you're making a game that's kind of in that pocket, maybe they can kind of get you some users, but even that I think is debatable. So yeah, I don't know. Increasingly, I just don't know what publishers do for you. I mean, unless they're going to give you a ton of money, which they don't do. I don't know. I mean, when you went to publishers for Kind Words too, you said, I mean, what were they offering? What did they claim that their advantage they were offering you was?
I mean, in the farthest conversation I got with one publisher, I was asking for low 6 figures, and they wanted to talk about how can I make the game bigger because they wanted a bigger return on it. They wanted to invest more and get more.
Right.
Right. And so, like, I did not like the idea of being in charge of a multi-million-dollar game project because of the time and stress and the role that I would have to take at that point is one that's almost entirely managerial. Right? Either I hire someone to be my boss, because when you're spending that much money, you'd have to staff up a bit, and then I'm managing staff. I'm not programming the game. Then I don't know.
Also, given the kind of game the Kind Words is, you can only imagine what kind of evil shit a publisher would want you to do to get the return on investment.
Well, what are the camels that broke my camels? One of the camels
straw
that broke the straw on my forehead, whatever that was actually a really reasonable request of the publisher. So I was pitching in Kind Words to like expand. It's like, okay, you're gonna have a dog. we don't have a dog in the game. But
Right.
It's like, our winning experience. Like, we're gonna have a dog, and the dog with this. No, it's actually kind of a nice design, and yeah, sure, we'll put that in Kind Words 3. And I was like, we're gonna have a dog, we do this. And they're like, and I sent them all this stuff, and the only bit of feedback they came with was like, well, if you have a dog, you gotta have a cat too, because people like cats. And I was just like, okay. I mean, there's so much more to talk about, but if that's where the conversation, like, if this is where we're starting at with like, you're already like, you just doubled my animals. I don't know. It's just like, I can't handle this.
Yeah.
I'm doing the game by myself, and it's gonna be much smaller. And so, just sort of like, right? Like, I have a lot of ideas for what Kind Words 3 would be, a lot of directions I'd like to go, but I don't have the energy to do it, because doing that is, in the way I do things, it takes over my life. It's what I'm doing. You know, drag Luigi along too, or do something Luigi wants is passionate about. Like, whatever I do is to the exclusion of something else. It's that opportunity cost of like,
Oh yeah.
oh, but there's 73 games I want to make, and am I going to spend?
I mean, you've already done 2 of these. I mean, what you know, I mean, it's, you know.
But then the other side, this is for the most part the only thing. I mean, people care about the other stuff I've done, and some of it's done well. But by an order of magnitude, Kind Words has got much more following in a current base of people that I can talk to. So if I want to make something and have an audience ready to receive it and engage in it, which I love, engaging with the audience, why the hell would I walk away from an IP that's actually got people excited and engaged in it?
Well, it doesn't have to be a Kind Words 3, but it could be a game that is in the, I don't know what you call it, the Kind Words universe.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could use that mechanic in a different way.
Yeah, but I really want to get away from text input.
Oh,
because
okay.
it's so limiting.
Yeah, but I think that makes your moderation task easier.
This is great, and that's why I haven't. I mean, that's why the game works, right? Because it's like you're putting the most amazing user-generated content is what you put in yourself. But this is why I haven't done a console game since the Wii U. It's because like all my other games are typing games.
Yeah, you can't really. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you could. I mean, I guess like with the Switch 2, for instance, there's a microphone built into it. You could just talk, transcribe it.
Yeah, right. There's awkward ways to do
Yeah,
things. There's
yeah.
on-screen keyboards, but yeah, I don't know. So I'd love to capture that Kind Words vibe and richness of user integration without typing.
Well, there's probably a way to do it. I mean, there's probably a way to do it with, I don't know, gifting objects or, I don't know, some other communication method between players. I mean, I think it's possible. Especially because on a console or whatever, you're going to want an international audience that doesn't always speak English. I mean, kind of reminds me I'm sure, you know, this is being done to death, but I just remember way back in the day, you know, Phantasy Star Online had the emojis. They were translated in different
Luigi's
languages.
Still playing Phantasy Star Online, like probably this week. He is still playing Phantasy
I haven't
Star
played it
Online.
since its heyday, but I really wish that Nintendo would put it on the GameCube service on the Switch 2.
yeah.
I would love to play it again because I loved that game, but I kind of do feel like with a lot of games from back then, when I go back and play them, I'm like, oh, I can't play this anymore. But I don't know about, maybe Phantasy Star Online is still good. I haven't played it in a long
I
time.
haven't touched it since Dreamcast.
Yeah, exactly. I tried to play, like they did the weird card game thing. It was weird. But yeah, they had the emojis that translated into whatever language you were in. And, you know, I don't know. Maybe there's a way to have simplistic communications that aren't text between characters. I don't know. I mean, is that, you've done other games that don't involve text. I mean, you were showing me one earlier today. I mean, is there another game you want to do that's not anything like this?
Well, I mean, you know, I've got this game that's been in early access for like, 7 years now? No, 7 years. I have a game that's been in early access for 7 years, and I would love to just get time back to go to that. It's one of those like, okay, at this point, it's absolutely a financial sinkhole, but I'd love to get back to my sailing game. There's no type.
Okay, that game's still in early access?
Yeah.
Oh. When do you make the determination that it's out of early access?
When it's good enough, and I don't think it's good enough.
Okay.
It doesn't feel. There's something missing about some of the core feel to it that I never got right, and I want to get that.
So do you think you should just iterate on that or make another game that start fresh with that same mechanic?
I should probably cut my losses, but I love this thing, and I want.
Yeah, make a sequel to that.
I can't make a sequel to thing in early access.
Sure you can.
I mean, I have to burn the thing in early access and bury it and pretend it never existed, or I'll get crucified online for like, you can't, like, I don't think I.
Well, a spiritual sequel.
Right, yeah.
You know.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to make a pinball game.
You know, I could tell you that, I mean, I can't say I don't recommend it, but there's definitely, there's a ceiling to how many people would be. It is funny though, pinball fans, they love pinball.
I think Yoku's Express won a BAFTA.
Yoku's Express, yeah, that's like a pinball Castlevania, you know, that's kind of like, you know, it's not strictly, I guess the further you veer
Oh, do you have like a purity level for like, oh, this is not pinball?
No, but I just noticed that game was like a pinball-vania, and I feel like the further out you go from strict pinball, the wider the more successful you can be, to the point where you have like this ball pit game that everybody's talking about, which is like, you know, well, I guess that's more like Breakout, but...
Kenny, he's got some strong Boston ties. That guy used to hang around here.
Oh, really? The ball pit guy?
Oh, yeah, Kenny.
Okay.
Yeah, Kenny's son.
Interesting. Okay.
Smart as hell.
Gotta find that guy. Yeah. Yeah, it's like the further out you go from strict pinball, I think the wider the audience you get. It's just kind of weird. It's like some people don't understand pinball, which I find funny because it's the most basic. It's just gravity.
Yeah, I took my 13-year-old, you know, he's like in high school, my nephew to Dragon Pizza, and the pinball machine there, and he was like, "Wow, what do I do?"
Yeah, it's interesting though. It's like every 15 years pinball has a comeback though. So now, you know, cool young hip kids are doing pinball tournaments, at least in Los Angeles, pinball tournaments and stuff. I can't say I'm actually. It's funny because people come up to me and want to talk to me about pinball. I'm not actually any good at it. So I've been working on pinball games for 10 years, but I can't say I'm an expert on actually playing it. But I don't know. If you want to make a pinball game, go right ahead. We need more. We need more video pinball.
Just got to get writing into a pinball game somehow.
I mean, you could. I mean. You could pull. I mean, I don't know.
I would like the ball to go up and then left.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It's pinball can be mashed up with many different genres. I think. You know, after all, we call ours a bullet hell pinball game. I guess it is. So, you know, okay. So yeah. So the next thing for you is just basically. You're cooking on idea. You have an old idea you want to finish, but do you have any new ideas you're gonna start working on?
I've been prototyping. So Kind Words 2 has been out for about a year, and we've done some updates on that. But I've actually spent more of my time just doing weird little prototypes.
Okay.
And I do have another Kind Words 2 update coming out very soon, and more plans for that. So I haven't. Here's me signaling it's not dead. It's a live game. Don't at me. But yeah, playing around with some terrible ideas. One of the worst ones, I won't go into all of them, but one of the ones that delighted me the most is I wanted to see how small you could make a platformer and still have it be legible on a 4K screen.
Okay.
And so I really got it down to like, the main character was like 3 or 4 pixels. And then I made all the, tiny ass platformer. And so to play it, you'd have to be on a 4K TV and stand with your face right next to the TV, right? It's a terrible ergonomic thing in the audience.
Right.
But the sense that you get of like, if you miss this and the ground is the bottom of the screen, you're tracking your head for like 20 seconds as the character falls. The sense of size was something I had not experienced in other places. So like, it was a feel I hadn't had with a platformer. And I got lazy. I only did like one corner and an edge and stuff. But just imagine like a Metroidvania where it's all one, the whole thing is only one giant picture, all alive at the same time.
Well, they did do that. Remember that Castlevania game?
No.
On the Xbox 360? I can't remember what it's called. It was all on one screen.
Was that like a multiplayer?
Yeah. Remember that game?
People don't tell me about that one.
I can't remember what it's called.
But I'll bet it was the protagonist was more than 3 pixels.
Oh, yeah, no, it wasn't quite like that. But it was, I remember I could not figure out how to play that game. But it was like this, it was like this one big
Someone
screen.
else was telling me about how much they loved that one. There's some real fond memories.
Yeah, I think I could never find anybody else to play it with me, which is why, I'm looking, your BAFTA's right there. I was just like,
as we were talking, I was like, is it in the shot?
No, it's like, there's your
BAFTA. In the
BAFTA.
shot. I put it in a place intentionally that would not be in the background of my Zoom calls. It's
Yeah.
not back. I didn't.
Yeah, you should humble brag. You should have, what's that behind me? It's my
Should we
BAFTA.
redo the interview? I can put
No,
it on my lap.
no, that's all right.
I can hold it here.
I was just distracted by this death mask looking thing that's actually
winking
an
at
award.
you.
Yeah. Okay, so like, yeah, a lot of these. So I'm trying to like, so you're part of this sort of like experimental indie Boston scene, you would say. I mean, this 4-pixel idea. It sounds like there's a type of game design where people are trying to. It's just more based on experimentation than commercial viability. Commercial viability is like a possible side effect.
I'm addicted to both. Luigi and I are both very. We like to make things that haven't necessarily been made before.
Right.
I think part of it is because necessarily we don't have the patience or strength to be best. So we're going to be first.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, blue ocean strategy. I'm a huge fan of that. Yeah.
But then also, I do enjoy when I see the game on a Steam chart or something. Like it does successful commercial. They there's a joy there.
There's a joy there, but
Yeah.
sometimes I'll see games where like they're kind of like, as you say, super unique, and I just like, I can't believe like the mind. Like I remember like when I saw Gorogoa, whatever, I saw that like at GDC, and I'm like, what kind of mind thought up of this game? I'm like, I was just like insanely jealous of just the guy's brain. I was just like, you know, no, I don't remember the guy's name, but I was just like, this game, like, how did you even think of that? I don't even know if it made any money. I think Annapurna put it out or whatever. So like, you know, maybe, but either way, I'm like, even if this didn't make any money, doesn't matter. I'm like, I would have been thrilled to even come up with an idea half as good as that.
I think at least got a Game Pass deal, but yeah.
Yeah. It was just like, so yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting. It's like, you can make games for commercial viability, but you know, making games quote unquote of an artistic endeavor, which it's just like sometimes those ideas are so genius. It's just I can't believe it. Came out of somebody's brain.
I have the luxury. You know, I've been at this long enough that I have the luxury of not needing to immediately chase the most commercial idea, and also I'm older for a game development demographic actually, and so it's harder for me to give a shit about some trends. So I'm just not up as much. Sometimes. Like I am playing everything. I'm playing most stuff recently. I'm doing stuff, but like, and I recognize a lot of cool design stuff, but I'm not going to be the one to show up and make the next iteration of the next cool genre thing. I feel like I'm working at my best when I'm off in the woods doing something nobody expected. That brings from, and Luigi's a big proponent of bringing stuff from outside your life in games. I guess what I'm trying to say is, I play a lot of games, but I'm not so much my intellectual diet, I'd like it to be, maybe I'm fooling myself, I'd like it to be based more off some non-game stuff that I bring in and poop out games.
Well, because I mean, that's games used to be, you know, when games were new, there weren't any video games to base video games off of, and that's where we got the foundational games that we had.
And that's why I named my studio is named after the concept. It's Popcannibal, is in eating popular culture and
okay, that's what that means.
Popular culture. It was originally a music experiment where I had an automated thing that would listen to pop music and spit out more pop music.
Okay.
I already owned the domain when it came time to make a game company, so I stuck.
It's like same with me with Flarb. I owned Flarb. You could get a 5-letter domain name back then, and I bought it, and so be it. That's the name. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I think I had, but anyway, that's okay. Yeah, I had something pithy to say about that, but I don't remember. So, okay, that's cool. I think that I don't know if there's any anything else you want to leave us with, or
I want to do, and you can just cut this out.
I won't. I don't have to.
I want to for all the as we talked about publishers not being useful. Here's my publisher pitch for my $7 million game. This is the one idea that I have right now that I love. That needs a publisher because I'm not doing this without a team. So you know Catherine, the game Catherine?
Yeah.
It's Persona-esque people interacting with each other by day with a little bit of salacious, perhaps murder mystery story going on, mixed with a sort of arcade puzzle type thing, and it's got a bit of a sexy edge.
Yeah.
So take the puzzle part out, the climbing Cubert type thing, replace it with Pikmin.
Okay.
But all the Pikmin are naked people.
Okay.
So this game is called Thousands of Naked People.
Okay.
And it's sort of got a Hieronymus Bosch, the triptych painting with all the little characters fornicating. It's this classical painting of all these really tiny graphic sexual things going on.
Okay.
And so I want millions of dollars to hire a team to make a Pikmin game where you're just throwing around thousands and thousands of tiny fornicating people during your dream sequences by day or at night, and then during the day you are I don't remember, I have a whole design document somewhere, but at this point this is where the publishers just say shut up and take my money. There's you're stealing Nintendo IP, you've added sex and nudity, we're going to win. It's the new PAL world.
The new PAL world.
Yeah,
better patent that before Nintendo does.
This is what I want to put out in the world right
$8 million. He needs $8 million for that.
The developers of Kind Words, actually Luigi doesn't.
From the developers of Kind Words.
The developer of Kind Words, I want to make thousands of naked people next.
Well, you know what I was going to ask, because I was going to ask you is there any pressure following, like, given your game is so critically acclaimed, is it intimidating to make something new?
Like, do you think you could live up to your previous track record?
If this had happened earlier in my career and not 10 years on into my career, I was 10 years on before I had my first like really notable hit here. If it had happened earlier, I would have been like, oh God, everybody's looking at next.
Yeah.
And now I know like I will be lucky if anybody's paying attention enough to notice an incongruous next step, right? That would be a great problem to have.
Sure.
Like, whoa, the press is paying attention to
Wow,
me
there's a
because I
think
made
piece.
something different.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's in the world of indie games where you're just hoping anybody plays your little thing. I'm not too worried about being. I've never been very consistent between games. Kind Words 2 is the first sequel we've done.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Do you think the indie game label means anything anymore? I mean, what does it even mean? I mean, look what they list as indie games at the Game
Expedition
Awards.
33.
Yeah, like that's not an indie
It's
game.
an incredible, amazing game.
Yeah.
I actually don't know. Dave the Diver.
Not an
Another
indie game. It's
fantastic
made by
game,
Nexon.
part of a big company. I don't know, and I don't want to throw any shade on those. Those are great games.
But they're called games. You know, the budgets on these games. You know, when I first started making games in the '90s or whatever, you got a budget from a publisher. It might be small, and you're making a game for nobody called it indie games. We weren't owned by Sega, but we were a studio that got funded by a publisher to make a game. This label is so dumb. I mean, my games are indie games. We self-finance them and publish them, but who cares?
We've got a lot of language problems around in our industry. We don't like gamer is a stupid word. Who's
Yeah.
a gamer, who's not. People don't like. I'm a movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm a movieer.
I'm a
movie watcher.
I don't know. Like I'm a TVer.
Yeah.
Get out of my way.
I just don't even understand the point of this label. Like,
Right.
I don't. Is there an Oscar award for indie film?
I mean, the point there is something meaningful we're trying to get at is you do. It is helpful to have a running pack to be like. I hang out with these folks.
Yeah.
I know that we have similar struggles in our life, and then if we spend time together and if we meet up and we talk about these things, it's going to be easier for us to share meaningful things. Like, I mean, I have great conversations with people in AAA or whatnot, but they aren't dealing with the same day-to-day I am. So I meet with a indie developer for shorthand, and I know that you and me, Ralph, we met today, and we're already able to talk a lot because we are
actually indies. We're self-financed, self-published, which is, in my opinion, the definition of indie. But I think indie now has become an aesthetic and almost a narrative that they use to sort of frame games. Like, the Game Awards Indie Award, I just don't even think they should have it. Like, I don't care about the Game Awards, whatever. I actually kind of like them because I like just to see the announcements. I don't care about the actual awards.
I like them because Kind Words getting nominated was the biggest,
was it nominated for a Game Award too?
The biggest single boost I've ever seen on Steam in a day.
That's cool.
Bigger than the BAFTAs, bigger than anything else. Getting being shown for a moment in the Game Awards was by far the biggest.
How did that happen?
They're not an apply thing. They just pick.
Yeah, because I think I emailed Jeff Keighley once or whatever. I was like, so hey.
And I think a lot of this PR. We also at that same time HP picked us up for a promotional thing because they were doing some they wanted to do a series of feel good, make the world better type stuff that they were airing at the Game Awards. So they also sent out a film crew to film me to do a little segment that they showed in the Game Awards.
That's my favorite part. Like I just like the Game Awards for the trailers and the announcements.
Well, it's great because the Game Awards, because I was there in LA for it, and it's just like boom, 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 and then it was like, here's a game about writing letters. Boom, 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 boom.
Did that help you at all? Did the Game Awards bump help you at all, or did you get lost in the?
It was the biggest bump I ever saw.
From sales on Steam and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
The minute it went on, when the Game Awards were airing, the minute it went on, my Steam went for that hour. But it was like, that was great.
Well, I mean, they're happening in a week? Come on, so put me on.
I have so much just I know. It's such a weird, messy thing. Who's picking these nominations? What does it mean? It's so commercial, and I benefited from it so directly. It's hard to be like, man, I'm an artist and screw this commercial and that. Like, man, that was good for me.
I can tell you. I mean, I know that the AAA teams. I know that they care about the Game Awards. Like, it's a big deal to them too. And I think for probably similar reasons. I mean, it's not just a feather in your cap. It does actually translate to actual sales.
Yeah. Didn't win the award, which is cool, but the Muppets
it's an honor just being nominated, as they say.
Didn't get invited to the after party.
No.
Come on, man, I was a nominee.
I know.
What if I'd won? Would I have gotten invited then? I don't know. But anyways.
Interesting. Okay, I did not know that. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Not that I'm bitter.
That's cool. Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, the Game Awards. So yeah, awards are a critical part of your business model here.
We got a few words. Like, yeah, it's hard to keep my ego in check sometimes. It is. Yeah, we got nominated for another BAFTA with Kind Words too, and I got to actually go this time. And I took my mother.
Okay.
It was nice. We got to go to the London for this whole little fancy ceremony, and got to show my mom was really not into games. Like,
Right.
what is a high-end celebration of games? Because they do a real classy affair at the BAFTA.
Yeah.
I like the BAFTA.
Did you have to get a suit?
Oh yeah, it was full formal. It was
Oh,
full
wow,
black
okay.
tie.
Oh,
Yeah,
black
I had to
tie, okay.
I had to hire a jacket, as they would say.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, which is a real industry around there. I was like, oh my God, is there going to be availability? And once I got there, I realized like there's like 7 shops. They all have 3,000 tuxes.
Yeah.
You walk in, they've got it for
Yeah,
you.
they still have dress codes in England.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
My phone is blowing up.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it's because, speaking of indie devs, right before you and I started this, I invited a bunch of indie devs to a pub at 5 o'clock.
Well, and it is 4:57, so we're just in
there's
time.
probably a bunch of indies at
Yeah.
a pub waiting for us.
And we're done. I mean, I think we've
Yeah.
done, this is good. This is great. Okay. Cool. And maybe I'll find a bunch of other people that I can add to the list of interviews
Yeah,
here. Awesome.
Cool.
That was great. All right. See you later.
Cool.